back in 2004, Lamborghini got together with Audi, decided to create a new frame, a new chassis for a new car. Well, Audi created a new car called the R8. Lamborghini created one called the Gallardo. Now, those two cars shared a lot of parts. Now, with that, I know Lamborghini has their own way of doing things, and they always have. That's why up to 2004, the cars generally were quite wild, untamed, and I think for the most part that's what people liked about them, and that's why people would buy a Lamborghini. They wanted something a little bit wild and outlandish, so they bought a Lamborghini. Well, 2004 rolls along, and they decided, hey, you know what? Outlandish is great, but I love a heater that works, and I love reliability, and I love cars that actually start when I want to get going. If I want to take the car out, maybe take the girlfriend or wife out to a movie, you know, you come out, you want the car to start, and you're hoping you're going to have a certain level of reliability. Well, the old cars may or may not have had that entirely. So in 2004, the whole thing was revamped, and a lot of the electrical, the chassis, a lot of that was supported by Audi. So Audi and Lamborghini put together a platform that works, and was quite successful because it ran from 2004 to 2014. And in about those 10 years, they created somewhere in the neighborhood of 12,000 cars. Naturally, every year there's one or two or maybe a dozen, unfortunately getting wiped out from, you know, overzealous drivers. But anyway, nonetheless, so a very popular car, and they've sold a lot of models, a lot more, I believe, a lot more Gallardos than the entire production run of all Lamborghinis to date. So, very successful run. Now, with that, I just want to feature this pre-LP Lamborghini Gallardo here that I'm driving. It is not the 04, it's a wee bit newer than that, but however, it is a pre-LP car, so it does feature the 5-liter V10, 500 horsepower, 376 foot-pounds of torque. There's no shortage of torque with this car. It's definitely got the power to go. Now the handling, some people feel the handling isn't maybe quite as precise as in a Ferrari 458 or a 430. They might be right. That doesn't matter. Another thing that seems to be a discussion, the refinement of these pre-LP cars is not there. People talk about the lacking of refinement. They're not that refined, yada yada yada. You know what? Who gives a shit? Is a roller coaster refined? No. But you know what? You have a lot of fun on a roller coaster too, right? So, at the end of the day, these cars are made to go fast, have fun. They handle very, very well, especially in the long sweepers. And to be honest, the all-wheel drive systems help keep the car on the road in poor conditions or in the corners. So, it's an awesome platform. Now, along with that, there's 3 driving modes I thought I'd share with you. We have an automatic mode, which is not really advised. I think it's there for the flexibility, but for the most part, it's not too many people like utilizing the auto mode. It's not good for the car. It's a little tougher on the clutch because it does a little more slipping, but it is there. So, anyway, you also have a slippery when wet type button. I'll call it that. It's actually poor road conditions, but we'll call it slippery when wet. Now that's an option for just that. It activates the traction control a lot sooner. Shift settings are changed a wee bit. And so it just kind of helps everything. Should the conditions go poor, it kind of helps you control the car a wee bit better. Now, the last and the best mode, of course, the pre-LP cars do not have a launch control. They do have a sport button, which does make some allowance for adjustment on your ride, aggressive ride setting as well, more specifically to the shift setting speed. Now when you hit sport, the sport actually quickens it right up to the point where I kind of hesitate using it too much, because sport mode actually feels like it's actually almost going to tear the car apart. It shifts quite hard. Now, if you want maximum performance, it's there. Some people argue too, sport mode is the best way to go because it's easier on the clutch. but it definitely seems to take its toll on the rest of the drivetrain. So it's there, it quickens up the shift speeds, and to be quite frank, it's a great feature. It's a lot of fun to activate once in a while. But yeah, so that's kind of the long and short of it. Now, these cars, you know, they have the regular gamut of, you know, adjustable coilover suspension. You've got basically cross-roll ventilated rotors. You've got, you know, 6-speed manual or 6-speed e-gear, which this car features the e-gear transmission. Now, that's another point of contention. So, yes, is it a little rough and raw and ragged and possibly a little bit unrefined compared to the new stuff, the twin clutch? Yeah, I guess it probably is. But I've driven the twin clutch cars, and they're a hoot, and they're fast, and they go like stink. But the beauty is with these older single clutch, slower shifting e-gear, you get more of that sensation, that pop hits you in the back every shift. And you know what? That's what you're looking for in a Lamborghini. So you want some sensibility. You want the new car reliability, yes. But to be honest, that e-gear, this older LP e-gear system, is a little bit more old Lamborghini. It's a little rougher. It's a little rawer. It's not unreliable. It works great. It's just it's a little slower. Punches a little harder in the back. And you know what? That's part of the experience. You know what's even nicer are the big downshifts. When you're downshifting with the e-gear, it's such a beautiful sound. So you can't do too much wrong buying a pre-LP Lamborghini. These cars actually represent an awesome value right now. They pretty much hit the bottom of their depreciation curve, and because of that, this might be the time to scoop them up. Now, production numbers, people are going to argue that the production numbers are way too high to see this car go crazy in value. I kind of agree to a point, but these cars will climb. They will escalate. They are a Lamborghini after all, and for every car that gets wrecked, and for every car that just seems to go away, the value of the existing cars that are in nice shape with low kilometers just continues to rise. So, awesome machines. Again, you know what? These, you really do have to take one of these out for a test drive yourself to really get a sample of what they're about. The other thing, of course, naturally, are the looks. You really can't go too wrong with the Lamborghini looks. Arguably still the most exotic. Yes, Ferraris do everything well on the track, yes. How much of the time do you spend on the track? Most people, maybe 5%, 1%. If you're a regular racer, maybe 10%. These things handle well, they go well. To be honest, they look more exotic than most other supercars out there. So, awesome cars. If you are looking for a Lamborghini Gallardo, I do suggest it. We definitely appreciate this drive in this particular car. It's been a lot of fun, and I just want to share that with you guys. Thanks for joining. Follow more of our great videos. There will be much more to follow, and yeah, please enjoy. It's been a hoot. Thanks again. I'm back here to talk today. I'm going to chat a little bit about the good and the bad about taking your exotic car to the racetrack. And I'm sure most of you have considered that at some point. But for me, the debate goes on because we talk about, well, what is the good, what is the bad about taking the exotic car to the track?